Hey guys, Templar here. Now today I will be talking to you guys about the anime called Kingdom. Now I can hear you guys already, well, Templar, what's it fully called? Well, that's the thing, it's just called Kingdom. Now, I can already hear you guys, Templar, I hear this, Templar, is this a good anime? I guess I'm not watching CGI crap. Well, that's the thing. It is good anime. The story is anyways. Problem is though, the CGI not so good during the first season, but still, it's best to listen to the story. Anyways, now I can already hear you guys already. Well, Templar, what is this anime about? Well, Kingdom is actually not about Japan, but about China. And this is ancient China, the warring kingdoms of China, during the time of the rise of the Qin dynasty. Now, this is actually really cool. This is before the, Great Wall of China, for example, but as well it shows us the rise of power of the Qin dynasty from its early age to its very full foundation. And it actually shows the very king of Qin, who later on becomes the great emperor of the Qin dynasty. Now, it also shows pretty much the great general at the time, such as, if I remember correctly, it's, if it was it Yang or Xin? Shen? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was Shen. Now, the commander known as Shen is actually probably one of ancient China's greatest general, but originally he was great, but he died before he managed to conquer most of the lands that his emperor had actually given him. And yes, he did actually start as an orphan, a war orphan for example, and actually became a servant, but later on became a great commander in history, which is really cool because they follow the history mostly in history books. Because yeah, they have the mountain folk, they have the pretty much the other forms of cultures and the kingdoms, and is what the pretty much part in China at this point in time was pretty much like. And if you guys don't realize what China was like at this point in time, it's kind of like an era before paper was involved. It was an era in history that looked different. In other words, this is the type of China before it was conquered by other powers such as Japan or Western powers. And in doing so, this culture of China was actually impressive because it had, well, pretty much impressive gear, impressive type weaponry, but as well they also showed the type of ways of tactics. Now, a lot of it is historically accurate. The fighting, I wouldn't go that far. Reason why, I can already hear you guys might ask, well, this is like a animated Hollywood bullcrap. So yeah, there are going to be some weird ass shit that doesn't make any sense. Now, there is a commander known as Wang Yi, and if I remember looking him up a little bit more in history books, it actually was a real historical guy. He was actually a full-on commander and was one of the world's greatest generals. Which, yes, he was. Same as Shen. Now, he and Commander Wei Yi actually were one of the world's last great generals in China. But that's the thing. These generals were once originally great commanders and chiefs, but as well, Yang Yi, when he had his commanding in post, there was actually the term 3 greats or 6 greats or so on, in which that's actually the thing. There were actually this type of term. If there was the term 3 greats, then that means this country has 3 great generals who are better than the other and have never been defeated, which makes sense. Now, what we do know though is that at this point in time, the history behind it is that it states that upon this field of battle, many of them actually fell and died. Now, one person actually who wrote down the history of these events, in which now is actually being placed into the series Kingdom. Now, if you guys are also wondering about this series, it's already gone through 2 seasons, so I hope they make a 3rd one so that way we can hear about more of it. Now, as well, it is really impressive of how they got the weapons all accurate, the tactics accurate, the gear accurate, and including the armor. Now, it also does show the foot class compared to the knightly class at that time. In fact, peasant soldiers hardly had any armor. In fact, sometimes the only type of armor they had was a type of tunic. Now their tunics were more of like a fabric like silk, but or a silk mixed in with cotton, but that's about it. While the commanders, well, the like say a knight or whatever you want to call it as, nobles, get over take, guards, foot soldiers, they would have actually had armor that would have been made of metal and such. The foot soldiers that Shin was first in, not so much. But that's actually the cool part about it. They actually show the difference between the two versions. Now, as well, they even show the weapons they would have used, such as the crossbows, the pole arms, the swords, and which, that's really impressive. Now, also, it even shows the civil warring period in the Qin dynasty before it became a dynasty. This was between, well, the Emperor of Qin and his brother. Now, there's a difference between this, actually. The reason is quite clear. The Emperor Qin was the eldest brother, while his younger brother pretty much was the youngest. And, well, there's a difference. He was technically a illegitimate heir. When I say illegitimate, you get the point. Now, we don't know why, but it is stated the reason is pretty much because his mother was from a foreign kingdom, and as well, he didn't have that much power, and as well, she was of a lowborn. So, yeah, you can see why the second brother wanted more of the power. He wanted to take control, and in order to do so, he kind of needed to kill his brother. Problem is, though, that's actually a big no-no in this time era. Now, I can already hear you guys already. Templar, is this thing historically accurate? Fully historically accurate? Well, yes and no. Now, what we do know about most of it is that it's actually extremely accurate in most ways. Combat, otherwise, it varies depending. But as well, what we also do know is that when it comes to the history about it, it's actually really impressive, because this is about China, ladies and gentlemen, and there is no other type of history about this warring period era. But the really impressive part is that they also go back in time a little couple of ways just to show you what might have happened beforehand, such as what happened to these great generals before. Now, it is really impressive, but it is also kind of stupid in some areas, and there are some of these comedy things or just ridiculous. So, though, it's actually kind of impressive of how they made it. Now, out of everything I love about it, the second season was probably my favorite, or the end of the first season, because it makes a little more sense later on, and you get to understand it a little more. Now, I have watched it over and over again, and I do love it. But the thing is, the problem about the series is that it's like, kind of like watching a CGI shit film. Yeah, I know, I don't like CGI as much as the next guy, but you get the point. But as well, guys, if you guys want to watch it, be my guest. In fact, Kingdom is pretty impressive to watch. I've pretty much watched it about 4 times probably by now, just to remember it mostly. But as well, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so it's best for you guys to watch it. Now, I will put a link down below for you guys for the series, if you guys want to. Watch it yourselves. I don't know if that channel would be workable in your area either way, but still, it's best to watch this series. So that way you guys can understand a little bit more about Chinese culture. And in fact, if you guys are into Chinese culture, I advise you to watch this series. Now, other than we know part about this series, I will take any more questions for you guys in the comments below. Now, as well, if you guys also want to subscribe, be my guest, to help the channel grow, please. And as well, also click that bell icon to actually get any one of these episodes immediately. And as well, like this video for more. Anyways, guys, this has been Templar. Have a good day.